Welcome to Cyber Espresso Podcast, your quick shot of cybersecurity insights with industry leaders. I welcome today's guest, Dr. Chan Naseeb from IBM. Good morning, Chan.
Good morning. All right. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I appreciate it. So, Chan, you have over 20 years of experience at the intersection of AI, data science, and emerging technologies. How can companies navigate AI with a sense of purpose nowadays and while staying rooted in human-centered values?
Yeah, great question, Morat. I think it's a very timely one because to navigate AI with purpose, you need to combine invention with the intention, innovation with the purpose, with value. And you have to make sure as a company, as owner of the company, that you root all the solutions that you built with AI in a human centered, like it should be serving the human needs, right? It should be augmenting human, not replacing human. So I think there are a few steps that you need to consider in mind to really have a purpose built AI that is serving human needs, that is more human centered. The first and foremost is like you have to ask yourself why you are using AI, why you are building this AI solution. What is the need, the human need that you are serving, right? Or what is the societal problem that you are addressing? And then you need to anchor in your AI strategy uh, to the mission that you are serving. It could be, for example, education, equity, healthcare, access, sustainability, or any human needs that you want to serve across the society. The second is you have to embed ethical design into your AI solution. So it needs to have some kind of a responsible AI framework. So, for example, which is serving fairness, transparency, accountability, right? So, what happens if something goes wrong? You need to have some sort of accountability. It has to have fairness in there so that it is treating all human more equitably, right? So you have to design those solutions with the user trust in mind, right? So it need to have data privacy and most importantly, some sort of control that human can take over if something is going wrong. They have the possibility not to have human in the loop as for feedback, but also to have some sort of control. Or I would say the final word is with the human, right? Because AI is not that mature that we can take it, okay, do it independently. The next step, sorry, is I believe it's more important. You have to co-create with humans, not just for them, right? And that's a very subtle difference, right? So you have to involve diverse stakeholders, whether they are policymakers, they are data scientists, social people, or any user or stakeholders that are involved. The more people you engage into the design, into developing the solution, you will have a solution which works for everyone without the issues or risks that technology has with it. The next one is you have to balance the automation with augmentation. So your purpose is not to replace the human beings, right? Not the human workers. Your purpose is to augment them. So these are some of the things. And last one that I wanted to add is you have to create the AI literacy across your organization, across your employees, across your people, so that they understand the AI is here to help them, but not to replace them. So yeah, this is what I would say. A few points in regards to having uh, purpose-built AI, which is focused on human-centered design and values.
You're absolutely right. Like we know so many organizations are rushing for AI implementation, but without putting the purpose or the outcome or the
Yes.
threats around it. And AI is an umbrella term. We have different versions. Now we are hearing a lot about the agentic AI. I know lately you attended a conference for agentic AI.
Yeah.
Can you unpack for us what agentic AI means and why it's becoming such a pivotal concept?
Absolutely. So Agentic AI is rapidly evolving and emerging as a hot topic, right? And everybody wants to be on the bandwagon, right? It's definitely next evolution step in the AI domain. But let's break it down. And I want to highlight one thing before I break it down is that agents or this concept has been there for almost for decades or more, right? So, of course, first we were working with the more rule-based expert systems, right? And now we are talking about more autonomy, right? So first and foremost, I would say we are talking about AI systems that act as at autonomous entities. Autonomous, you would like to call autonomous agents, that's fine. So autonomous entities that can pursue goals over time, that can make decisions based on changing environments, changing conditions, right? So they are kind of autonomous in, let's say, if you have defined a path A to B, something changes while they are operating, they can decide because you have already specified the goal. So this was the goal. So they can change instead of A to B, they can go A to C or A to D or whatever, right? So they can autonomously decide on that. So first one, goal oriented. Second one, autonomously. The third one, they can plan and adapt. And I've already mentioned a little bit earlier, and take actions without needing regular human input. Once you have specified the goal, they don't need much of human intervention or input in the middle, right? And they can collaborate or interact with other humans or other agents for that matter. Of course, there are many examples, I would say. So, for example, you could think about some agent that can schedule meetings for yourself, right? That can summarize documents, they can do research on your behalf, that can do negotiation on your behalf. So, there are many applications of agentic AI. Um, and it is pivotal because what we were doing with AI is we were focused more on passive AI, let's say classifying images, right? So that's a kind of an image comes to AI tools way, and then it classifies, okay, it is that kind of image, or even generating text, right? It's more kind of passive. You say, okay, generate me a text, you put a prompt, and then it gives you the result. But now we are talking about more active entities which take the role. Okay, this is the goal. What are the steps that you would execute to serve me, right? And so similarly, customer service agent. So we are moving from tools to teammates, right? If you would like to call them, and it's unlocking more, how I would say, high leverage automation. So using more automation, more autonomous control. And with these agents, you could scale the expertise. And these are becoming the foundation of AI first workflows.
Correct. So is it fair to say AI is no longer cool unless it's agentic? That's what I am hearing. Uh,
Well, yes, you could say that. I would summarize it like agentic AI is AI that does not just things or not just follows certain specific rules, right?
correct.
As the defined path. It rather acts at a more fulfilling your goal. So
Yes.
it represents a shift from static tools to more dynamic tools, decision making collaborators, and it's shaping the future of work, automation, and bringing human and AI more together to interact and yeah, achieve the business outcomes.
Very good. So I borrow one of your quote, which I like it. I will just rephrase here, and I would like to get a little bit more insight on that.
Absolutely.
You said, with the rapid rise of generative models, it feels like everyone has become a guru overnight. So, in your view, joke aside, what are the risks of this surge of everyone becoming an AI expert all of a sudden?
Yeah, again, a very great and very timely question. So, you know, the rapid rise of generative models, large language models, tools like, ChatGPT, Midjourney, Claude, Copilot, and we could keep naming them. They, I think, one thing that they have done very incredibly powerful is that they have democratized access to AI. So now pretty much everyone can use the AI, right? Somebody who has a smartphone, they could use AI or many of those tools on their smartphone right there. But on the other hand, it also created a new kind of risk, which you alluded to earlier, the illusion of expertise, right? And I would say, in my point of view, there are five key risks. First and foremost is the superficial understanding. So people confuse tool usage with deep understanding. So if there is somebody like in a crowd, you go out on the street and you see somebody says, "Oh, can I show you how you could use AI to generate images or do this and that?" So for the people who are, let's say, who have very little education or not using very actively these technology, they would be really surprised. But the problem with that superficial understanding is like they don't know how those models work, how their intrinsics are working together, what are their limitations, what biases are there, for example, hallucination, right? So, what outputs could be wrong or misleading? So, for example, when somebody asks through a prompt, generate this text, there are many issues involved with that thing, right? So you definitely get the text very fast compared to when a human writes it. But the problem with IP, right? The intellectual property, who owns it, its credit worthiness, its trueness, right? Its veracity, from where it is coming from. The second issue is using the if you use those generative AI tools, and I would call a misuse of those tools in high stake environments. So, for example, if you use them in legal, healthcare, or educational settings, even let's say a student using those tools for their thesis, right? It's not their work. So now they are not building or let's say polishing the human agency, human mind, because now they have shifted to rely more on those tools, and that's the problem. Another one is misinformation and thought leader inflation, right? So there are too many of them, and I mean, I've seen one. I did not want it to quote this, but I'm kind of feeling propelled to do that. I've seen somebody who is like very new in the field, and there was some kind of online ranking, and he was ranked before Jan LeCun, who is the like the pioneer in AI field. And this kind of inflation of thought leaders or misinformation, I think it's damaging, because you're getting what happens is, as a result is you're having a flood of low quality content, and I think that's misleading expert tax, right? And also it kind of brings in few more issues. You are getting either outdated advice or low quality advice, right? Or something which is not true. You're getting overhyped capabilities of AI and fake authority on AI safety and it risks. So it is, I would say, posing many risks. Then you could really kind of take the advantage of AI. And the last one I would say, which is more troublesome, is what happens when you see so many AI experts. They are, like flooding all the social media, LinkedIn, and all those platforms with so much content that you see the overhyped capabilities of AI. You start to ignore or underestimate the risks that AI poses, whether it's hallucination, whether it's embedded societal bias that we have in those models, or lack of explainability and traceability. Let's say if you deploy those solutions in any life critical situation, who would you assign the accountability and responsibility if something goes wrong? So these are, I would say, the issues that are happening with that. So on one end, we have very nice democratized access to AI, but on the other hand, this overhyped capability, I think it needs to be addressed, and we need to think about how we can tackle those risks and look around for real expertise, encourage deeper learning and transparency about the limitations. And we need to focus more on educating everyone but first and foremost, the decision makers, because they need to understand where AI is today, what it is capable of, and what are its limitations and risks. So I'm sorry, a very long answer, but I think yeah, you got the idea.
Yeah, very good. So, Dr. Chan, I appreciate sparing your time with us. It was really an engaging conversation. I will call it almost a crash course. So it was very valuable. It was nice talking to you. I look forward to meeting with you, talking to you on other opportunities.
Likewise, thank you very much. It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.